My main concern about our response to terrorism since 9/11 is that we haven't helped policymakers understand where and how to invest the taxpayers' money. At least we haven't done that very well. Our inclination is to add more to security, and to me this is particularly evident in the realm of transportation security, both airports as well as rail and buses. But the reality is we should be asking questions about the effectiveness of our policies, and this is an area where we simply have not done that. People sometimes assume because no flights originating from the U.S. have been attacked since 9/11 that this is proof of the effectiveness of our approach to airport security, but I don't think you can make that case for two reasons. First, a lot of what we consider contraband now has been proven through independent testing by organizations such as GAO and others that it gets into the airports. So we are hardly perfect in our ability to keep what we consider contraband out of the airports and off of airplanes. Second, there are an awful lot of people that move in and out of the airport environment throughout the average workday without ever being screened. So our focus is really on passengers, and that's not a complete or thorough focus. I think there are three things that account for the improvements in passenger security since 9/11. First, we've reinforced cockpit doors. Second, passengers and crew know that they have to intervene in an incident if they see one unfolding. And third, would-be terrorists, I think, are finding it more difficult to get permission to travel to the U.S. because of changes to our visa process. One of the myths about airport security is the idea of a sterile area of the airport. The reality is TSA workers pass in and out of or through the secure area of an airport all day long and are generally not screened. Many airport workers who work as vendors or who are mechanics or do other things inside the airport transit in and out of the secure area all day long without being screened. And many flight crews, whether it's pilots or flight attendants, are also subjected to very different types of screening than passengers are subjected to these days. So there is no sterile area of the airport. The reality is that there's a mix of people who have been screened and unscreened inside an airport at any one time. The biggest missed opportunity is that we should have established a trusted traveler program early on. There are a lot of different ways that we could configure a trusted traveler program. One of the more intriguing is to piggyback on a program that Customs and Border Protection developed for frequent travelers who want to enter the United States. It's called Global Entry, in some cases Sentry and Nexus. This program, people that are a part of it undergo a deep background check, and then they're allowed virtually unimpeded access and re-entry into the United States over air, land, and sea borders. That kind of program could very easily be pushed to the front of the airports and become the backbone of a trusted traveler program for the million people that have already entered or have membership in Global Entry. There are two things that we should be looking for in the decade ahead with respect to air transportation security. First, we need much better accounting of what these security policies cost the passengers, the time they spend waiting in lines, the lost commerce because of restrictions on what can move through airports and so forth. This will feed into the second major change that we need, which is a framework for evaluating the effectiveness of these security procedures as they're added on. We basically need a regulatory review framework so that we have a better understanding of when we make these kinds of changes, whether or not they're actually adding anything to security.